Hello, everyone. Vinod here, professor from IIT Palakkad. I'm here with one of the students I've had a chance to interact with a couple of years back, Anwesa. Uh, she reached out to me saying that, hey, I want to do a PhD abroad. Where do I begin? What do I do? And we had a couple of conversations. And fast forward a couple of years later, she's doing really well in UK. She's been accepted to a PhD program. It is just absolutely having a rollicking career. So I thought it's a good chance for us to meet Anvesa, ask her a couple of questions, and give everyone a feel of what it means to get ready for doing a PhD abroad, what it means to get ready for doing a master's abroad. How do you prepare for jobs when you look at Europe and US and so on, right? Like, what are some of the considerations we need to uh, factor in? So these are things we're going to be discussing today. Anvesa, welcome so much.
Yeah. Hi, Vinod. It's nice to meet you again. After a long year, it's really nice, and you helped me in this whole journey a lot. And hi, everyone. I'll be really happy to share all my thoughts and insights, and all of the ups and downs I have seen from India. Because just like you, I also didn't have that much of godfather or someone behind me to support me. So I literally almost built myself from the scratch. So I think probably the insight, the struggle, the journey, the story I have would probably a bit of relatable with you. So I think, yeah, that's going to be helpful. I hope so.
Awesome. Thank you, Anvesa. So, by the way, Anvesa is like one of the most brilliant students I've met because she is a person who actually acted on the feedback I gave her. A lot of people listen and do not do much, but Anvesa really acted on a couple of things. Okay, so let me begin with maybe describing a little bit of Anvesa based on my knowledge. And Anvesa, after this, I'll leave it to you to kind of introduce yourself, right, formally in terms of your background. But
Right.
Anvesa has a little bit of a sciences background. So, most people who look at doing a PhD abroad are typically engineers from India who have a B.Tech degree, and then they're like, okay, let's go for a PhD, MS PhD, and so on. But Anvesa did not come from that background. She had a sciences background. And then she was like, okay, I'm coming with atypical background, but still I want to do something different. And then we ended up discussing a couple of things about how to improve the research profile. So let's begin with that, Anvesa. Let's talk about your profile, right? Before you, like, at which point did you decide you want to go for higher studies? And can you give me some brief about like when you graduated, where you, what sort of background did you have,
Yeah.
and when did you decide that you want to do higher studies, and what are some of the considerations which played in your mind as you made the choice? Over to you.
Right. So I completed my graduation something around 2015 in zoology. So my course was like basic BSc honors in zoology from University of Kolkata. So this course was quite well, and it was a bit of holistic approach of biology you can learn from this course. And then I did masters, same in zoology, and from University of Kolkata. So here it comes a really good point, of you can say the realization, because when we study in India, if we are in the science background, we do bachelor's. Immediate next thought as a biology student in my area, like West Bengal and any other area, comes like go for the higher study masters. Okay, but we never looked beyond that. What after
Mhm.
the masters? I mean, as a fellow student, I also didn't look beyond that. What gonna be happening after that? And then, so that was a point. But I never realized that thing. Once I completed my masters, and it was 2020 and the COVID hit happened, right? We all know like 2019 and COVID hit that time. At that point, when COVID happened and I was in home, I was literally doing nothing. And at that point, this thing hit me that what am I doing actually? I mean, I know I'm doing masters, but what after that? What I'll be doing with this masters? What this masters will get me where? Like exactly where I'm gonna go? Honestly, I have no idea. At this
Mhm.
point, I have no idea. And I started talking with people regarding that. As a normal student, we never thought about all this big kind of thing, that what is the end goal. Probably we have something we want to do, obviously something better, make parents proud, but we don't know what exactly the thing. So same with me. And then I started then exploring things a bit, online thing, having much more time, not going out during the COVID. I would say this helped me. That was my you always have a period where you just explore in life, right? So that was
Mhm.
basically my exploration period of life. I just self-realized where I stand in the market, and I stand nowhere. I can tell you, I realized at that point after doing all of the market research in terms of science and every sort of field I tried, every sort of field. It's nothing like just one thing or one or two thing. Starting from starting from going for a finance based course, because we know that finance is a really booming career. So I even thought to change my career from science to finance. One time I thought I'm going to go to IT somewhere, do some data course and do something. So all the fields I explored, and I realized I stand nowhere. I have nothing literally that I can sail on. Sail on means the skill that I have, I stand up and there is nothing. And I was like, okay, now I realize that I have nothing. But there are 2 points. Either you feel that, okay, you have nothing and leave it and go somewhere, go for any sort of government job preparation. You start from beginning, start from the scratch. And another thing, you just think that you have a degree, you have a subject that you learned for past 7 years, 3 years, 5 years, 3 years bachelor's and 2 years master's. You want to build up on that subject. So that you have two options at this point. So I chose number two. I chose to build up in the subject. I thought that a subject I studied for 5 or more than 5 years, why to leave that subject? I learned that many things, sir, right? And then I really want to work on this thing. I want to give the world or give the science background more on that. So I thought I won't go for the government job, honestly, because as an Indian background, all the parents wants you go to the government sector. That's a really good lucrative career, I know. But for me, I chose the second one, master's one, my subject, and build up on that thing. So now the option is set that I'm not going for the government one. I started exploring how can I explore
Anwesa,
or
can I just ask one more question in between? So, how did you decide you don't want to join the private sector? Did you get a chance to work somewhere? Did you spend a couple of internships working somewhere? Did you get a feel of it, or did you just make up your mind that this is not going to work for you?
yeah. No, I explored it because I think I talked to the lots of people. That's the thing. So I connected in LinkedIn with a lots of people from my background, because after masters we can go for the private work. We can go and work for the private sector in biotechnology, all this section, right? So I connected a lots of companies in India that that employs fresh graduates like masters, and I talked with them and talked with my fellow friends who are already working in that field, and after listening to all of them, I just come up with a conclusion that I don't want to do that. This is my pure conclusion, honestly. I mean, it's nothing like I read and I thought, okay, I don't want to do that. I really researched on the thing. So that there are a couple of reasons. First thing is that there is no point of growth. First thing in my mind came to that, because my friends who started their technology career, I mean, you can say the industry career right after the masters, they just end up doing the same thing after 10 years. Probably the increment would be, I don't know how much. It's not about the money, it's about the growth, right? The growth, there is no growth. And if there is, that is so slow paced. I don't like that. I thought that no, this is not the thing I want. Probably some people like that, but I just thought that no, this is not the thing I want. And second thing is that process of innovation, there is not much as a master student I can do in the field that can come up with something new or innovative thing. And I always thought that if I'm learning a subject that much, why not to give something to the society and come up with something? So you don't have the opportunity. If you don't have the opportunity to explore, to innovate, then you just ended up doing a same 9 to 5 job that you do in the government, right? So that doesn't make sense then. So all the reason that I'm going for this career, because I wanna work on something science and that is new. If I'm doing and end up doing the same thing, same 9 to 5 thing, so why to go for that thing then? That doesn't make sense. So this is the reason why I didn't go for the bioscience private sector at this point, right after the masters. And if you talk about the other field, like lots of bioscience people now go for the HR, MBA, and all this thing. And when I explored all this thing, I don't think those are the thing that I really want to do. And I don't think those the skills required to excel in this field, I don't have that. So that's why I didn't go for the private sector, honestly.
Okay, awesome. So let's move on, right? I think you were raising some things about what you did to improve your research profile.
Yeah.
So let's get into it, right? Let's hear your thoughts, because
Yeah.
I know that you applied for a master's program rather than a
Yeah,
PhD program directly. So walk
exactly.
me through your thought process, how you decide to target master's. And did you already make up your mind that you want to finish your master's and do a
No, no.
PhD, or were you like, let's take it
Kind
one
of.
step at a
Uh,
time? Okay, over to you.
Kind of. So when I saw that I stand nowhere, I have no skill that I can work on, or some company will hire on, or I can go somewhere. So I thought that let's build something. And honestly, at this point, I'm telling you that okay, let's build something. It's so easy. It is not. You don't know what skill to build. You don't have any idea which sort of skill you needed to excel, what field you should go, and where to go to learn the skill. These three things are always there. And at this point, I don't have any idea. That's why I was trying to connect, teachers, good teachers like you and knowledgeable people like you, to get an idea, get a guidance that which way I should go. I literally couldn't see anything the way I should go. And that's why. And for that purpose, first thing I did, do the LinkedIn research. That is the most important thing. I went to the people's profile, like randomly searching different people's profile who work in the bioscience field and they excelled in the field. I mean, if they are in a good position. So I checked their, experience section and the education section. I see what sort of things they did, and also the certificate section, what they the certification or things they did. And I tried by writing down and noting down things that, okay, this seems interesting and I really wanted this skill. And if you learn this skill, that means that can take you in that place. So I tried, building a sort of soft skill at the beginning, like, learning something, some basic coding thing, because nowadays it's also important for biology and all the research. And also learning some sort of basic ideas, like what sort of techniques you used in the research, I mean, my research field. A basic idea, theoretical background, and clear, just you can say that clearing your basis of the science. That's just revising everything. Because I told you, after masters I got totally isolated and I don't know what I do. So what do you want to do? So that's why. And then after that I thought that theory will take you nowhere unless you have some practical things to build on, to show people, to the employer, that okay, I have that, I worked on that. And when I realized that thing, I started exploring where I can work on, that I can get the practical skill. So the first thing will be coming in our mind is the internship, right? But the problem with me was that I already completed my master's. Nobody want to take me as an intern because I don't qualify as an intern because I already completed my master's. So I have to join as an employee then, right? But there was no proper places who wanna take me as an employee and teach me. Because if they are taking me, like getting me as an employee, they will always expect that I learn it, I know it. That's why I am knowledgeable. That's why they're taking me as an employee. Then they will be benefited. So there is no way I can enter as an intern and learn thing and after the master. That was the three things that never aligned. I tried so hard to align these three things. And then I tried finding things, and all the people were coming up with the same response, that you can't go for the internship because you have completed your masters. And second thing, nobody gonna hire you because you don't have skill. You wanna build skill. While they will hire you because if you don't have skill, you wanna do they pay you just to teach you and also employ you? No, right? It doesn't work like that. But I still was thinking like there should be some way. So I started exploring things, and in West Bengal there is an institute called BITM, something Birla Institute Technology or something like that. One day went there too. So they do some short courses on biotechnological things like basic PCR, all this thing. So when I went there, one of my professors suggested me to go there. So there I learned a couple of things, and I thought that okay, this is really interesting thing, and I think I can do these things. And then I started talking with loads and loads of my professors, like all the professors I knew of, LinkedIn people, professors, like basically building the connection. I just my connection making mode on just on something like that, you can say. I started doing a connection and and talking with all these people. Different people are giving me different ideas, and I started the feedback basically that you mentioned earlier. You gave me also loads and loads of good feedback. So I started working on the feedback that people are saying me or asking me to do that. Let's do that. And once I started exploring, I saw that there are a couple of positions you can join after the masters. They will employ you, and but they would teach you, but it's not a full-time employee, and that's project assistant or project associates kind of position. And those positions are offered by not only CSIR, all of the science institute, most of the reputed science institutes. Even IIT offered the project assistant positions. ISR, everybody do that. In my field, it's very frequent. But the only problem with that is the connection. So the student who is already working in the lab as a master's intern, labs generally tends to take that student as a fellow candidate rather than taking a total newbie, which does make sense, because why you want to teach a person and take a newbie person rather than whom you know who is capable already, right? That does make sense. And here comes the second problem. I never worked as an intern, so I didn't have that connection and this thing. So that was the second problem, that I wasn't getting any place where who is willing to take me, because this thing I never worked. But I kept applying. So I tried ISR Kolkata. Excuse me. ISR Kolkata is the first place I applied for the project assistant position. and I was rejected. And I was so like, heartbroken that nothing gonna happen and nothing. And then I tried a couple of more times under different scientists in the same institution. And apart from that, there is called NIBMG in Kolkata too. I don't quite remember the full format, but same in the biotechnology sector. So first thing, after getting the rejection from ISAR, I made a whole list that what are the institution in Kolkata, and you can apply as a project assistant. Excuse me. Yeah. And then, so the main problem was that you can say me that why Kolkata? Why didn't you go for any other city, or you have literally the whole India to apply for it? So in my mind, I have one thing, like if I stay in Kolkata, in my home city, that will give me an edge and extra time to explore more things, because I don't have to do the household chores and all these things, right? I will be staying with my family, so that won't create extra burden on my mind, and that will allow me to do something better out of this time. So that's why always I created a list of it. So there are 5 institution I found out in Kolkata: ISER, IICB. If you know Bose Institute, Jagadish Chandra Bose Institute, and there is another one called IIT Kolkata is actually not in Kolkata. It's a bit far.
Okay.
And NIB. So those institute, I started applying. And I obviously got rejection. And then I thought that there is something probably I'm not doing right. What can I do right? And then once I started LinkedIn connection, one of my LinkedIn connections said that if you don't go and talk to the scientist and go say and give your CV to them and say that you want to work, you have done this, that thing, they don't want us, they will only be saying your email and respond you. They don't have that much time. If you want to really work, please go give your CV and try to interact them in person. Lots of people will reject you, but at the end of the day, someone you will find someone who will be interested. So I thought, okay, this is the thing I'm missing out. So I started going in different institution that is near Kolkata, and that is another reason. So you can't just go to Delhi to meet a scientist, right? So it's not feasible at all. So
Yes.
I literally uh, took a particular institute. I listed down all the scientists' name and contact details and the subject area whom I am interested on. Tailored my CV for each person, tailored it properly. It's not like I printed out one CV and went for the 2 scientists. So I have a like fixed number of the scientists. Today 3, next day 4, and I know this day which scientist I'm meeting, and I already prepared the list of it, about what topic I'll be talking about, what research paper he worked on, what things he is working on, right? So all this thing I prepared myself and went and talked to the scientist. But the thing is that there are lots of institutions who don't allow you to enter unless you have the proper appointment or something like that. Those are some drawbacks, you can say, but you have to work out or work around all this thing. So like that, I made a scientist who was working on malaria, malarial protein, and I was anyway a bit interested in infectious biology, all this thing. And he said that I'm interested, I'm gonna work with you. I'll be having an interview like next 2 or 3 weeks after. I'll be officially posting the position. If you wanna join the lab, you can come and attend the interview. We will see how you perform, and then we can go from there. And I thought, oh, that's a good opportunity to go from there. And I appeared for the interview. The position came after 3 weeks in CSIR IICB. In CSIR IICB, after every 3 months, 3 to 4 months, they actually release this kind of vacancies, honestly. Different positions, if they have one. I think it's the same for the all CSIR institute, yeah. And then I appeared for the interview, and interview wasn't easy at all. It was one of the hardest interview of my life, honestly, because they have really a panel of scientists, let's say 6, 7, more than 6, 7. So they will firstly, you have to introduce yourself. They will introduce, and they will ask a lots of question regarding the project that you will be working on. So you must have a really good understanding what the project you will be working on, you wanna work. I mean, all of it, whatever you can, you can do a good literature review around the project. Okay, just don't leave any space where you can fall down. Learn all the basic techniques like PCR and all these things. read all the basics of it. If you're doing PCR, why you are doing it? Adding this chemical, why you are adding this? Why this chemical will be used for? So this thing I studied, and they asked me like my interview was for 20 minutes or something, and it was really, it's really something good one, I would say. And all of them asked me question, not only the scientists I'll be working with, the 7 or 8 scientists, and you will be facing questions from scientists like randomly. You will
Mm-hmm.
answer it, another person will be asking you questions. So you have to juggle around, and it's on you how you switch your attention between all of them. Don't like look at anybody one like that. So that was so I was pretty much confident the interview is good, I'm gonna get it. And yeah, so after 1 month I got the offer from the scientist, and after the interview I also talked with him that I'm really interested to work with you. So these are the sort of thing, make a small little bit of difference. So,
Mm-hmm.
there are 5 candidates, 4 of them will leave after the interview. You will be staying and meeting with the
Yes.
scientists. And they will go out and say that, okay, I'm interested to work with the project. I'm this. So these little things really make difference. So
Yes.
this is the thing. And then I got the position, obviously. And I started working with the scientists in that lab. I know, I literally learned a lot from this lab, a lots of basic biological techniques. Because in my master's course in CU, I wasn't taught any proper, research kind of skill that you can build on. Like even I don't know how to do the proper PCR, honestly, proper PCR or do a SDS page. So you don't have that much setup or equipments that allow you to do in by your hand. You can just see it, people doing it. That's all. So that's the thing. And then I worked there. I used to, and then I thought that after probably 2 3 months, that working here is good. You are learning things, but it's not something I want to do for my entire. I want to do entire life. So let's go for the PhD then. That would be a good option. And then I started, preparing and for net, gate, all this thing. And while I was preparing for it, in the institute there are loads and loads of people who qualified all these exams and came there. I started making connection with them because they are the people who working as a fellow, not only as a junior fellow, senior fellow too, like postdoc, all of them. And the first thing I realized that before making the decision, you want to go for the PhD, what are the career options after the PhD in India? What the
Mm-hmm.
benefits you're getting? Because this is the mistake I've already done beforehand. I didn't explore the career opportunity before going for the master's. So I can't afford doing the same mistake going for the PhD, right? So when I talked with people, I've seen like not a lots of people, sir, happy about the thing that they're doing the PhD. I don't know why. So not a many people, like 90% of them quite are unhappy that they're doing it. They don't know why they're doing it, and they don't know what to go after that. This thing I realized, and like couple of like 5 or 7% of them, or you can say solid 20% of them are just doing it because they're getting the CSIR fellowship. That's a
Mm-hmm.
easy salary, you can say. And couple of people are doing it because they don't want to go for the government job, and they don't want to do that hustle because you have to learn all the history, all this thing again. So yeah, it's just, I can say, the eliminated as a backup option. People are doing it. It's not like they want to do it.
Okay.
So that's the thing I realized. So like, if people are not happy doing PhD in India, so why I'm gonna do? I also shouldn't do it because people already are in this field at the reflection that what you will be after a couple of years. So they worked really hard to qualify super competitive exams like NET,
Yes.
GATE, all these things. NET is super competitive. It's one of the hardest. So all this thing, and you end up being not satisfied, right? Because you work that hard for something, and when you entered that, you was like, that's it. I don't like it. So what it's not it's not worth it, right? And people, believe me, spend a good amount of 1 2 3 4 years to prepare for the net and appear and give trials. And during that time, I don't didn't have even trial because before the COVID, due to the COVID, it was totally stopped. And then I thought that okay, then I'm not gonna do PhD over here. And also apart from that, all the basic things like lab politics, the behavior, the professionalism, environment, all these things are felt like I'm not okay with this thing. So that's like, I was like, if this is the thing, I'm not okay with this professionalism, and I can't work like this for next 5 years. So in this environment, I can't survive. And this is not, I want to work, honestly.
So Anwesa, a quick one, right? So just to repeat some of the key ideas you proposed, right? One is that I think doing a project assistantship in a top school, top research institute will definitely improve your profile a lot, right? That's like the
100%,
definitely
100%.
it's like one big takeaway from this conversation. And I think you also
Okay.
talked about the fact that you did look at options of doing a PhD in India. compared to going outside. And he felt that doing a PhD abroad will just open up a lot more career opportunities compared to being in India, because sometimes people don't really think about why PhD when they're doing a PhD in India. And the second thing is also, I think the exams are too competitive by nature. It's actually easier to get admitted to a PhD program abroad compared to India, because they're just super competitive. Just because India is always competitive with respect to everything.
Obviously, yeah. And also, I at this point, honestly, I didn't really explore what are the career option after PhD or abroad PhD. I just had this thing in my mind that I don't want to do PhD in India. That's all. And after that, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So at this point, then I realized, then if I can't do PhD here, do outside. People say that because 10 out of the 9 people out of the 10 like PhD scholar want to go to abroad after completion of the PhD as a postdoc fellow. So I was like, if they all want to go to abroad after PhD, so why they're doing PhD here? So I want to go then abroad for PhD directly. It will be easy. So from this point, this doing PhD in abroad came to my mind, because all the PhD people want to go for the postdoctorate after the PhD. So this is the point you asked me, that when you know that when you're going to go for the abroad, this is the point that thing came to my mind. And then I then started exploring the options and all this thing. Again, LinkedIn connected with lots of PhD students who are already working and studying over here. And I came up with the decision. It's not easy, it's not easy at all. Because before me, lots of people already understood the same situation and same thing. And now they know that they don't want to do it. And that's why they're already exploring the options. And they're already ahead in the race of me. And they already applied. And when I talked to the people in LinkedIn, they said that they even applied 500, 600 PhD application. Can you imagine?
Wow.
They said that it's a luck. You can say they said me. I talked to lots of people in LinkedIn. They said that it's a luck that you keep applying. At one point, your interest, your supervisor interest, your funding body's interest, everything will align. And that's very point is very important. And you never know when this point will come. And you have to literally work all the time for that point. I know lots of people who working in University of Birmingham. But they applied like University of Birmingham was their 781th application, and she got it. She told me that after that, I thought I'm gonna leave everything and go for some basic thing. Those are the couple of last application I did that time that I thought, yeah. So can you imagine, like 780? Seriously, I mean, it's mental. She said that I used to apply every day 10 PhD application.
Wow. So Anwesa, I'm shocked, because I'm thinking of the professors who are providing the recommendation letters. Like, who's providing like 7?
Yeah, that's a point of contradiction.
So Anwesa, right? So let me just recap what's happening, and then maybe we can continue this conversation in a separate call. So I guess to put everything together, you were able to improve your research profile. You're able to get some good recommendation letters by doing a project assistantship at CSIR. And then you're able to understand what's happening in space, so that you can then reach out to professors, and more people take you seriously, because you have some solid work experience back you. Right? Exactly. Leaving the background aside, now you have good work experience, proper internship experience, which is clearly going to help you a lot, right? So that made you stand out from the applicant pool. Okay, so let's pause here, and then we'll continue the conversation.
Sure.